Hello, everyone. It is so awesome to be here. We're going to be learning about the exciting newly released features in ShareFile. So, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Vanessa. Hi. I am a ShareFile Solutions Engineer. I have the pleasure of working directly with new and existing ShareFile customers. Today's webinar is designed to showcase the new ShareFile features that have been released that intend to help you all maximize the end-to-end experience for your users and customers. On the agenda today, we will cover news on how you guys can onboard new clients to your ShareFile portal with a signed agreement. Next, we'll cover tracking and managing workflows like these in automated workflows. And last, we'll also cover our new project spaces. There are several business and financial service use cases that can use our new request list tool. This should elevate the way you are requesting documents going forward. On last week's webinar, we covered this feature targeting accounting firms, and the space was labeled engagements. Project Spaces is used in place for other industries that will also need document request features. So if you see engagements in any of the demonstrations or our documentation, it can also be labeled projects. Our next industry target will be for legal spaces, so please stay tuned. We will also give you guys a quick sneak peek on what's on the horizon for our upcoming product enhancements. So as we all know, ShareFile is a great tool for a lot of different industries. It's actually one of the principal use cases for our designs and demonstration that we will showcase in our premium capabilities. So with ShareFile Premium, you guys will get unlimited secure cloud storage, integrated e-signatures, a beautifully branded client portal, as well as that industry skin that I mentioned, right? And this will allow you guys, for your clients to have that centralized location to view, download, upload, and sign documents. And these new features aim to reduce the effort for both clients and employees. And by the end of this webinar, you should be able to see how we can reduce your effort to onboard new clients, send them engagement letters, new business letters, disclosures forms, as well as simplifying the document request activities that you guys are probably doing with a lot of your customers. So let's start with our discussion with the client onboarding in ShareFile. When you all take on a new customer or project throughout the year, you'll need to add those users to ShareFile for that secure client portal access. So how that looks today, it could be as simple as adding a user to a shared folder or a client folder in shared folders. And of course, there are many different ways to do the same thing in ShareFile, but the next slides I have are going to illustrate the traditional steps to onboard a client to your ShareFile account. And let's see if you all watching today can relate, or you guys have identified different ways that your organization adds new users. And hopefully today we can see if there's some new features that can help you do that. So there's no doubt there's quite a few manual steps that you can take. Let's say that I have some forms for a client that I need them to review and sign before sharing more documents with them. The first step I may take is to create a new client subfolder where their documents will live. And then I'm going to share that subfolder with the new client. And ShareFile makes that step really easy. I can add the new client directly in the add, people to this folder section, send them a welcome email, helps them get logged in for the first time. And adding them to that folder adds them as a new client user in my ShareFile directory. So step 3 is that's where I can get started. I can upload files that I need signed to that new client folder. And then 4th step allows me to use our right signature integration. I can right click on that document, send the document for signature, and then and I also have the capability in our web UI or the Windows S drive. So make it really easy for you to do that, even today. And then next, step 5, I can use ShareFile contact integration to predictively type in the name and email of that client since they've already been added to my directory. And that will direct the agreement letter to that user. The next step is for me to prepare that document for the user's signature. It's highly recommended to use like a reusable template in ShareFile. So if this is an agreement that I send out all the time, I can just import and overlay that template that I've pre-built over the document. And once I've got the document prepared, my template might have merge fields. That way I could add in the client's information, make it customized for their view. Or I can add in annotations like my own signature or just an additional text. And before I move on to the next step, I'm going to be sending the agreement via email. They'll get that email, they'll go through all of the required fields, and they'll sign the document agreement. And using Write Signature, it also gives us the benefit of the archive integration. So, when they sign the agreement, that will upload back to that subfolder that we created where we initiated the send for signature workflow. And then the last step is, the client, because that agreement is uploaded, the client will have access to the subfolder. They'll be able to view their signed agreement. And it's not, these 10 steps, pretty simple. It's not bad. Our research shows that you can onboard a new client in around these 10 steps, specifically for business service customers that need agreement letters signed before beginning new services. But how can we improve on that, right? So I introduced to you a new option in the people section. Our product team released this feature back in May, and it's called Prospective Clients. And this feature is available for our accounts with ShareFile Premium licenses. And with that premium license, you'll see that option. And this is where you'll be able to add users to ShareFile that are not officially yet clients. We want them to do something before joining the directory. So how does that look? I'll have a demo for you on what it's like to add a prospective client so that they become a true client. But this will allow you to create an agreement template in ShareFile powered by the magic of Write Signature. And you'll also see some new client information fields that we've added as a part of this release. Like previously we have name, email, company. Now these fields include phone numbers and mailing addresses. And the prospective client workflow can autofill those pre-built signature templates with the new client information fields. So my agreement templates are going to be personalized for my new client much faster than when I was manually typing in the merge fields like I mentioned in the previous example. And lastly, the most time-saving benefit of this new feature is how it automates creating the client after they sign the agreement. It uploads the agreement to the folder specifically created for that new client. So it kind of takes out a lot of the manual steps that we were using before. So let's see what this looks like in action. I have a demonstration of adding a prospective client. So if you start off with prospective clients located in the people section, this is where you'll be able to add the new clients you want to onboard. So we'll choose add a prospect. And then notice the additional client information fields that are available for not only these users, but all of your users in ShareFile. And these fields will help you administratively keep track of client contact information. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-fill a test user. And next, I'm ready to onboard this user to ShareFile. So I'm going to click Add, and I want them to sign in a client agreement first. So when I click Send Client Agreement, I will be able to choose from one of my pre-built templates to send off. And ShareFile allows you to store multiple template types depending on the details you need in each agreement. As well as you'll need to create a template here, not in Right Signature, to be able to send this agreement with this workflow. All right, and I'll take a look at my agreement. I've got the merge field, and down at the bottom, I've got all of the clients' information that I added previously. So I'm going to go ahead and send it off. You can see that the agreement sent status for this new prospect gets updated. And that's really all that you'll do from your side, but let's take a look at what the client will see. They'll get that email asking them to review and sign the document, and then ShareFile will guide them where to sign. And luckily, the client agreement template autofills all of that information into the document, right? And so all the client has to do is fill out the information that we're requesting from them. And so they'll go ahead and sign and date the document and review the information that we have. And once the client signs the agreement, they can save their progress. They can come back to that email. But if they're done, they'll just go ahead and agree to the terms of use, and they'll get this confirmation screen that the document has been successfully signed, and that this is where they could download their copy of the completed document. And this also includes the combined PDF, which has that auditable report with timestamps and digital fingerprints. So let's take a look at what that document looks like. So it has all of their information that they filled out, as well as their signature, making this a legally binding document. And we can confirm that with the signature certificate. So what do we see from our side after they've signed? So I can refresh the page in my account, and we'll see that that client is now removed from the prospects list, and now they're added to the client list. And you'll see all of their information there. And then next, we want to see where the automation created that client folder. So I can go to shared folders. There's this new root folder called client folders that I can see now. And if I double click into that folder, I'll be able to see a client folder, last name, first name for the client, as well as that signed agreement. And you can see that they've also been added with the basic permissions, view, upload, download. I can turn on upload alerts for them so that now when I start adding documents to their folder, they'll be able to get an alert about those. But for now, they can review that agreement letter that they should have a copy of, and they'll always have a copy of in their client folder. So let's summarize what we just watched during that demonstration. There's Prospective Client feature onboards new clients automatically to ShareFile. And so that first step that we watched was adding the new client information to the prospect list. And this includes those new contact fields that we added to all of ShareFile Premium accounts back in May. And then we also saw how we were able to select that prospect and send them a client agreement using those pre-built template options in ShareFile. The third thing we saw is when we selected that template in ShareFile, just by adding the information to the new client fields, ShareFile auto-filled the prospect's information into merge fields of that client agreement. And then the last thing we saw was all of the ShareFile automation, creating the client subfolder where they now have upload and download access. And we also saw ShareFile upload that agreement to the subfolder in one fell swoop. And we've estimated that this process takes less than 5 minutes to complete, maybe less than that, and it reduces your total efforts by at least 60%. So we're really proud of this workflow. And for you to see what you get at the end of the workflow is you'll get this execution email letting you know that the client signed the agreement. And the client also gets a welcome email from ShareFile. So they've been added to the subfolder, they've got permissions. All they have to do is activate their account and set up, a password to log in moving forward. And when they log in, they'll only be able to see the folders that they have access to. So the prospective client workflow is actually a part of another new feature that we call automated workflows. And this will aid your employee users to track and manage the client agreements they send, as well as potentially automate other repetitive tasks when sending one-signer documents for signature. With automated workflows, users can create workflows that they own and view the full run history of those workflows they have initiated. And this feature was released at the beginning of this month. So you'll see here how you can see anytime you send a client agreement to a prospect, you'll see that shown here in this itemized list and the status of that workflow. So for this current release, users will have the ability to create workflows that they can send a pre-built template for signature and then have that signed document automatically upload to a ShareFile folder of their choice. So to initiate the workflow, there are defined trigger variables that can map and merge fields into this document, very similar to the client agreement with a prospect, but this time you could use this for existing users. So I have a demonstration of how this works. It's just like a mini workflow to see what the client receives and what you will do from your side. So first we'll click on automated workflows. And I just showed you the run history, which will show you all of the workflows that you may begin, especially that prospective client user. And you'll see all of the timestamps and everything that happens throughout that workflow, and if it was completed successfully. And then on the Workflows tab, we can edit an existing workflow. I can show you what that looks like. So this is where the trigger is manual start, where I come to automated workflows and I hit start. And then I have trigger variables for the merge field. So I've got primary email, first name, last name, and you guys could add, make these fields optional or required to start the workflow. This workflow is going to send a template for signature, and I've got a requirement of 2 data fields, the first name and the last name, and those are going to pre-fill into the document. And then I'm saving the email variable as the recipient email address. So every time I start the workflow, I just put in the person's email and that's where the document will go. And then I also have where those files will upload to in ShareFile. So I've got a specific folder called workflows where I'm adding that document. And then I can also assign a name to that document, or I can assign maybe the email address of the user I'm sending it to make that document name specific to that send that I'm sending. So we'll save the workflow. And this is where you can give the workflow a name and a description. So anytime someone starts it, they'll know what it's about. And just a quick note, you'll need access to the folder that we set up for those files to upload to. You'll also need the e-signature license or a premium license to do this workflow. But anyone just fills in the requested trigger variables, and the workflow begins. So let's take a look at what that looks like from the client's view. They'll get the email to review and sign the document, and then the walkthrough on what to fill out. But we've merged in a lot of their information already, right? Their first and last name. So all they have to do is sign and date the document. They'll hit submit for signature and agree to the e-sign consent. And here's where we can see that document workflow was completed from our side. So very cool, very low effort. We like things to be easy. And then you'll see that this is the document that's uploaded, and I renamed it as the person's email address so that I can easily identify it. And it has all of their the requested fields filled out, and that's viewable within the ShareFile folder. And the last feature on our list to discuss are ShareFile project spaces. So if your industry is, financial or business services, with ShareFile, you could see this new tab in your account. And this will help you with document requests. So Project Spaces was released this month on the 1st, and it's going to intend to help your customers or your users of ShareFile organize customer document requests. So I have a slide kind of going over what is this concept and the power of a request list. There are several use cases for these collaborative spaces where you would need to request information for your clients. And a lot of the customers that I've talked to today, they are in industries like mortgage and loan processing, retirement and estate planning, debt management, investment planning, business management, and consulting. So the possibilities are endless. So you could see a lot of value in organizing a document request today. And that's because it's going to allow you to view and track and the communication with your clients, right? So we're not switching between tools, right, to email and links and things like that. It's all contained here in the project space. So we took your feedback from our previous feature called request lists, and we incorporated that feedback into project spaces. So you'll now be able to share a space and assign roles with permissions, making a user either an owner, right, or a coworker to help you manage the space, or a contributor, which is, for clients where they can actually upload the documents that you're requesting. And these document requests that you'll be able to assign to your contributing clients will have assigned due dates. There'll be descriptions for all of the itemized requests and a section for you all to have like a back and forth communication between you as the service provider and the clients. And that space also includes easy to read dashboards so everyone can view and track the overall progress of this project. So there's no more confusion on where we are. So I have one last demonstration that I wanted to show you of project spaces. So let's start it up. So you can click on the tab for projects, and let's take a look at one of my active projects that I have with the client that I just added or onboarded. I can click to share this project with that client. I've already done so, and if I click manage users, you'll see that they're a contributor. And note that when you invite a new ShareFile user to the engagement space, they'll get a welcome email to help them log in. So clicking on document requests is where I can create a new request, and this will be the main task where we assign a due date. And then that task will have subtasks, right? So I'm going to upload a one of the template spreadsheets to add in the task titles and their descriptions, and I'm going to import those into this request. And then the next step is just to go ahead and send the request when I'm ready, so that it'll go to the client user who I'm requesting these items from. And so this particular request, proof of income, note that once I send the request, the items are now open. And so it looks like we have 9 things on our list to do. I can create another request and assign a due date and see how it automatically assigns to my contributing client. And then I can also import those the list of subtasks underneath the main task. And I will check all of those and send the request off to the client. So let's take a look at how this will look from the client's view as well. They'll get the email from each main task that we send them for requests. They should have gotten that welcome email to sign in. They need to sign in to see the project spaces. And so when they'll be bubbled into the project task already, right? And so now they can start uploading files from their computer or mobile device. And they'll get statuses on those uploads. And when they're done uploading all of the files to that request, they're going to want to hit submit for review. And so that'll change the status for everyone involved. And then if you, and then they'll just kind of move through the list, right? And submit those attachments for review. So I'm gonna let the client keep going, and they can see at the top there at the dashboard, like, okay, now you only have 7 open items, 5 more to go. So they'll keep moving through those. And then now at the main tab, they'll be able to see how many total requests that have been that are still open or closed, and they can just move through all of those. So it's like way more organized if I had just, sent them an email with a list of documents to send me. I may get I may get more than I bargained for. So this document request or project spaces helps you organize that a whole lot better. And this is the employee's view. And so this is where they'll be able to see the documents that were submitted for review. So let's look at one of these. We can, preview these documents or download these documents in ShareFile. And then when we're done reviewing, we can approve them. And that'll change the dashboard above, letting us know how far we've progressed. We can also send back an item. Maybe we got the wrong attachments for the wrong year or whatever the case may be. So we can just send them a quick note as to why we're not approving this request just yet. And you'll see at the top that progress bar just continues to move along as we approve more items. And for each request, we can, start a comment thread with our client, just letting them know particular details about this document request, and so that it's not all lost in an email thread, right? It's specific to the specific document request that we are reviewing. And at any time, we can go to the attachments tab and look at all the attachments from the request. And then we also have a files tab that has all the files from all the requests, and we can sort and filter based on the subtask. And then we can also see all of the comments from the total project space and we can filter by user, we can filter by task, and just makes it a lot easier to organize the communication with the customer this way. Um, and we're just about wrapping up, and I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek on what's next for Project Spaces, because we are enhancing the dashboards and the statuses that you guys see to just make it even more easy to track. And so on that main tab, you will have an overview status of any open projects, right? We're also working on additional roles for project spaces to add to the contributor and owner roles. And this would include a team member and a guest role. And then we also have some file enhancements on the horizon. So this potentially will allow you to delete, copy, and tag the files that are being uploaded to the space. And I hope you guys stay tuned for our future webinars because we have more new things to share with you as well. I know that some customers are have questions on how do they get these new features. Please reach out to your accounting rep. We can discuss the details. We can give you guys a custom demonstration, get a little bit more information about how you're doing things today and how we can transform those practices to work a little bit better for you.